Daenerys Targaryen, possibly the most beloved character in all of Game of Thrones. While the series doesn't have just one definitive protagonist, for a lot of people, she's the most captivating part of the story, and a huge reason why Game of Thrones is one of the best series ever created. Fans across the world love her and are invested in her storyline, going so far as to name their pets or babies after her. So naturally, when the infamous episode, The Bells, aired in May of 2019, many of her most diehard fans were left completely devastated. While this episode's events were shocking and unpredictable, they were seen as a betrayal of the character's core values and personality. But above all else, it was a turn that just came out of left field. We can all agree that Daenerys' turn wasn't well done, but I think most fans would say that if it was delivered a bit better and more gradually, the concept of Daenerys going mad at the end could be really cool. Any character development for Daenerys in the last few seasons of the show seemed to just consist of her screaming,
"Bend the knee, bend the knee.
Bend the knee and join me."
while Jon Snow was just reduced to,
I don't want it. Don't want it. I don't want it.
It doesn't matter what you want.
I also used to think that Daenerys' twist could have been interesting if done properly, but once I read the books, my opinion completely changed. I know I may be in the minority on this one, but I'm here to explain why Daenerys shouldn't go mad in the books. Like almost every character in the series, Daenerys Targaryen is immensely complex, with qualities that make her unique, not only in this story, but in fantasy as a whole. For starters, she's compassionate on a level that we don't see from anyone else in the series, deeply caring for her allies, the common people, and the world's prosperity in general. Daenerys grew up without a home, and in constant fear that she may be assassinated simply because of her Targaryen name. The only family she has at the beginning of the series is her brother Viserys Targaryen, who frequently treats her as a mere pawn in his scheme for the Iron Throne. Viserys manipulates and objectifies Daenerys, and when she's just 13 years old, he sells her off to the Dothraki in hope of gaining their support. While with the Dothraki, she undergoes incredible adversity to survive and make the best of her situation. This rough beginning for Daenerys gives her the perspective of being someone without power in this world. While she could internalize this with hatred, anger, or revenge, she instead feels compassion and empathy for the less fortunate people of this world, making it her life's goal to end their suffering. By the end of the first book and first season, she literally rises from the ashes of her former self and is reborn with newfound strength to pair with her kind heart. This combination makes Daenerys a force to be reckoned with throughout the course of this series as she sweeps through Essos, breaking the wheel of terror that has existed for so long, or at least that's her intent the whole time. Daenerys, with all her outstanding qualities, isn't perfect. She's very young in the books, leading her to sometimes make naive decisions that don't end up turning out too well. A couple examples of this would be putting in place a council after overthrowing Astapor, just for the council to be overthrown by someone else. Another would be crucifying the Masters and Meereen without giving them a fair trial. But at the end of the day, Daenerys always tries to do what she believes is the right decision. She considers the consequences of her actions on the common people and makes judgments that she sees as just, even if it negatively affects her. She stayed in Meereen because she knew if she left, her people would just be enslaved again. She locked her dragons away after finding out one of them had killed a man's child. She personally tended to people outside of her gates who had contracted the pale mare sickness despite the risk of her getting sick herself. These qualities give her a lot of complexity and make her feel like a real human. She's morally conscious, but despite that, she's still capable of making poor decisions. Without a doubt, Daenerys is one of the best female characters I've ever witnessed for all these reasons. This is what I believe the showrunners of Game of Thrones overlooked when creating the final seasons. While Daenerys shows brutality throughout the story, she is always within her reasons. Her intentions were always good, and never once did she waver on her dream of improving the common people's lives. It has always come before her goal of sitting on the Iron Throne.
Jevite bagon daor. Dervi Jerry Sitibilos daor. Gemele Meli Sitibilos.
Having said all this, I know there is a chance that Daenerys will become the Mad Queen by the end of the story, and I'd be lying if I said the groundwork hadn't been laid for this to be a potential path. On top of this, it's well known that George R. R. Martin explained to the showrunners his rough plan for the rest of the story that hadn't been released yet. It isn't fully clear which portions of the show's ending was created by Martin and which portions were created by the showrunners, but it's believed that the unapologetic Mad Queen ending for Daenerys was primarily thought up by the showrunners. Also, Martin has said in the past that he describes himself as a more gardener sort of writer rather than an architect. This means that he plants the seeds for his story and allows them to grow and develop organically, nurturing them as they go instead of outlining an entire blueprint of a story. For this reason, and the negative reception to the final seasons of the show, I feel like Martin will have a drastically different ending to his story. You also have to consider that the show left out several significant characters that will definitely affect the outcome of things. A major piece of this puzzle is young Griff, aka Aegon Targaryen, the supposed son of Rhaegar Targaryen, who was hidden away all this time with the help of Illyrio and Varys. Aegon and Jon Connington have arrived in Westeros with the Golden Company supporting them. It seems like they may have the power to potentially reclaim the Iron Throne. Who knows how Daenerys will feel about this? Maybe she will see Aegon as a pretender as many of us fans believe. This could lead to another Targaryen conflict, resulting in casualties across Westeros, or simply a hatred for Daenerys from the common people that will crush her idealistic dreams completely. But I'll save those kinds of theories for another video, as this could go on forever. The point I really want to make is that Daenerys will not intentionally harm the common people of Westeros, and if she does accidentally harm them, she will show remorse for her actions, unlike the show. I believe even her having this thought would be a complete betrayal of the character we've come to love.
If you want to sit on the throne your ancestors built, you must win it. That will mean blood on your hands before the thing is done.
The blood of my enemies, not the blood of innocents.
I do, however, think that Daenerys will not have a happy ending. It will never achieve her goal of sitting on the Iron Throne. As the army of the dead continues to become a threat to the realm, Daenerys will become integral to solving this. The title of this series foreshadows the eventual feud between the wielders of ice and fire. Daenerys is also theorized to be the reincarnation of Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, prophesied to save the world from the Great Other. The legend of Azor Ahai states that he used a flaming sword named Lightbringer to end the long night thousands of years ago before Aegon's conquest. This sword was forged through the sacrifice of his wife, Nissa. Daenerys is one of the few characters that wields the power of fire in the story. She achieved this through the sacrifice of her lover, Khal Drogo, so it is very likely that Daenerys is Azor Ahai reborn. My theory is that Daenerys will arrive in Westeros and in one way or another not be received well. This will anger and sadden Daenerys, but she will never lash out and become desperate for power like she did in the show. She'll make mistakes along the way, but never intentionally go back on her morals. Possibly her mistakes will lead to casualties, the common people hating her, and the inability to forgive herself. But then she will gather her strength in the fight against the others in one final showdown, giving up her life in the end. Her part won't be known. The realm will still view her as a monster or mad queen, and she'll never live to see herself rule the Seven Kingdoms. But in death, she will conclude the long night and save the entire world from being enslaved as wrinkly ice zombies. Now that's a good ending for Daenerys Targaryen, Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains, and Savior of the World.